All right. Welcome. Hi, everybody. So while I am just checking all of the various parts of my screen that you can see me, I would love it if you could say hi. Let me know where you are joining from. And yeah, as soon as I'm ready and I've done my checklist, we will get started. Okay. It will also tell me that the chat box is working because I want you guys to talk to me today. So say hello. Let me know you can hear me loud and clear. Waiting for a confirmation. There are a few of you on the call, so if one of you could just let me know, that would be amazing. It's all looking good. Joining from London, welcome. Great, that means you can hear me. I'm getting some thumbs up. That is fantastic. Let's get ready to start. All right, let me put myself in the right place so you can see the slides. Might have to move around a little bit. Zoom has changed the format on me today, but then we'll be able to get going. So welcome, a massive, heartfelt, very, very excited welcome to you today. Welcome to Be the First, How to Progress in a White World, or how to succeed in a white world without working twice as hard. So over the next 90 minutes, and I have asked you to hold 90 minutes in your calendar, I am going to be giving you the answer to that question. And I emphasize that because what you'll take away and you'll start to notice is how clear and simple that answer is. And what's going to happen is at the end of this session, you are going to go away absolutely certain about what you need to focus on doing, spend more of your time, all of your time doing, that isn't just your day job, right? Spend all of your time doing, and most importantly, or equally as importantly, all of the things you can forget about, all of the things you don't need to worry about doing, or you can stop doing going forward. So here's how you know you are in the right place. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through and list some examples of the kind of person who I have designed this session for. Just find where my slideshow is moving from. So you are in the right place. And as I go through again, use the chat, talk to me. Tell me which one of these actually resonates with you. So you are feeling like you should be further along. Maybe you're someone who feels like you are slightly left behind. Just bear with me while I see. Here we go. The slides are working. You feel like you should be further along and that you're left behind. And how you know this is you is there are people more junior to you being overtaken. Maybe some of your peers have been given more recognition, more opportunities than you. Maybe you didn't think you wanted to progress in your career and you were quite happy just where you were or settling where you were. But now you've seen other people moving forward. You're starting to realize, actually, I do want this. Maybe you were at a stage in your career where you just feel like you are stuck. You've been treading water. And how you know this is you think back to the last year, the year before, and nothing has really changed. Yes, you are one more year experience, but you don't have that sense of progress, like you're going anywhere. And the reason why that's so frustrating is because you're working incredibly hard. How you also know you're in the right place is you want to progress, but you're feeling actually unsupported. A number of my clients come and join Be the First, which is my career progression coaching program. I'm going to talk to that a bit later. And they join because they want the promotion. They know they want to progress, but what happens is they're not getting the support they need. And when you work in the legal industry, you need support. And it's the same in most industries. You need the more senior people to be backing you. You need them to be opening doors for you, talking about you in rooms that you don't have access to yet. You need their backing and their backing and their buy-in, and you are not getting it, or you feel like you're not getting it. You're in the right place if you want to progress, you know exactly where you want to progress to, but it feels like it's out of your hands. And how you know this is you is if you talk about the market, talk about the economy, talk about the fact that people aren't being made up this year. You talk about the numbers, right? So you think, and you're doing all these calculations of who was made up last year, for example, to partnership. If you're there and you want to move up to partnership, you're thinking about how many people in your firm or in your group are eligible. Like you're thinking about all of these outside factors, right? And that feels like it's not something like there's so much outside of your control that your progression feels outside of your control. So let me know if that's you. You're also in the right place. I had you in mind when I prepared this session. If you have been working so hard, so consistently, you are constantly overwhelmed, and you are on the brink of burnout. Now, if this is you, you know, you know I'm talking to you, you know only too well. Let me just see, I've got a raised hand here. I'm just going to check that all is okay and you can see me okay. You know that you are dangerously close to burning out, dangerously close to it all falling apart. And one of the other really common behaviors I see and what I hear clients say to me when they first reach out to me is, I want to quit. Like if you have the feeling that you want to quit every other day or every other week, you've had enough, you can't take it anymore. Well, first of all, I'm so glad you're here. Secondly, what you're going to learn in this session is going to change all of that. If you implement what I'm going to teach you, it's going to make something like burnout be a risk or a threat that you never have to live with, never have to endure, right? Because we are in the business of taking control, taking ownership of our careers, and that also means taking great care of ourselves. And I'll be talking to that in a moment. You are also in the right place if you know you want to progress, but you don't know where you want to progress to next. You're not sure if you want to stay or if you should go. You're not sure. Maybe you know where you want to go, but you're not sure how to get there. Or you've got your sights set on that more senior role, maybe in the C-suite. Maybe if you're working in-house, for example, if you're an in-house lawyer, maybe partnership if you're working in a firm. But you're questioning, am I enough? Do I belong? And like, can I make it? And when I make it, like, will I succeed there? So this is how you know you're in the right place. Let's get stuck into it. Okay. So before I continue and give you the very clear, very specific, very simple, I'm keeping it simple because your life, your work is complicated enough. Very simple tasks, very simple skills that you need to focus on to succeed in a white world, to progress your career and have the success and recognition you deserve. Before I get on to that, let me introduce myself. My name is Caroline Flanagan. I am the career coach for Black lawyers. So, what qualifies me to stand here today and talk to you about succeeding in a white world? Well, honestly, that experience of being in a white world, of being the only one, that has been my whole life. Literally from the age of 5, as young as I can remember, I was the only one in the room. I was sent off to boarding school, a white boarding school, at the age of 5. And I remember it like it was yesterday. I didn't even know at the time until I found myself standing there. I'm in this enormous assembly hall, and I look around me and I don't see anybody who looks like me. I remember that day so vividly. I remember the jives and the comments in the corridors and on the playing fields. I remember my music teacher who called me Lady of the Jungle. I remember friends saying to me, Caroline, you're quite nice. You're not like normal Black people at all. And this was an experience that followed me through my whole school career. But here's why this is important to you today. From such a young age, being thrown into such a challenging scenario, what that meant was I had to learn very quickly, from a very young age, how to navigate those challenges, how to navigate being the only one, how to find a way to succeed. And what I want to say, and I can say boldly and confidently, and the fact that I'm standing here today talking to you from where I am in my life right now, the fact that I was exposed to it at that age meant I got really good at it really quickly. So I learned how to build relationships with people who were very different to me, connect with people who I had nothing in common with. All my school friends were from middle-class families. They went on holidays, they would go skiing, they would play tennis in the holidays in their spare time. They would have stockings at Christmas, all of these things. I had none of that. So we had so little in common other than literally the school we were at. I had to learn to build relationships with people different to me, right? And that was one of many skills I developed from the age of 5 and all the way through my career, just got better and better and better at it. And that is why I've been able to go from my very humble background, growing up in a council estate in Birmingham, being evicted from a council estate in London when we moved there, to go from a very, very humble beginnings to being a student at the University of Cambridge, to being a trainee and a international finance lawyer at Magic Circle firm Allen and Overy, as it was then, and then on to be a senior associate at Cleary Gottlieb, right? So I have literally lived and experienced and developed those skills and seen the success that it has created for me. And here's the other thing I want you to know. I did all of this at a time, because I'm a few years old now, all of this at a time when there was no DE&I. There were no affinity networks or groups. There was no consciousness around what was right or what was wrong. There wasn't even a thing as like a name for microaggressions. Like I learned to succeed in an environment that predates DE&I. And this is very important right now. I'm going to come back to speaking about the current climate and why this work and what I'm teaching you today is even more important now than it has ever been. Yeah, and the skill set that I've developed over the years from a very young age is exactly the skill set that we need in these times. So without further ado, let's get on with talking about you then. And just get my slides to behave. Bear with me, please. Yeah, I wanted to say here that I don't take lightly the fact that you are here today. I don't take it lightly that you're giving up this time, that you're going to try and find that 90 minutes I've asked you to find, not for me, for you. I take that very seriously. Time is of like our most precious commodity, and I know this is the middle of your working day. But here's what I want to assure you. Stay with me. Listen attentively to what I'm going to say. Really engage. Ask me questions. Because what I'm going to share with you today is going to be what it'll amount to is 60, 90 minutes of pure value for you. That will be the gift that keeps giving for the rest of your career. I do not exaggerate. What I'm sharing with you is tried and tested over, giving away my age now, like 45 plus years, a few more than that, right? Tried and tested skills that have succeeded, that have worked, no matter what the climate. So this is what you're getting today, something that will help you to succeed no matter what. That's how valuable and important this is. And I promise you, it will be worth your time. It will be worth your investment. Okay, so here's what's coming up. As I said, I'm going to be here for about 90 minutes today. And what I'm going to cover in that time is I'm going to talk about the number one mistake that I see you making. And I am going to offer you to, at the end of today, just stop doing and start doing and focusing on the 5 vital skills that I'm going to tell you about today. It's a number one mistake. I'm actually going to share a few mistakes, a total of 4, but I'm going to really focus on this number one mistake because it's what I'm seeing everywhere. And it's one of the things that when I think about my clients inside Be the First, I'd say it's what you're most blind to. Just checking my positioning on the screen there. It's a little bit strange, the layout for me today. Zoom has gone all fancy and I've been struggling a little bit to adapt. Okay, the number one mistake. I'm going to talk about the 5 vital skills, right? This is what I said in all of the emails about this session. I'm going to give you 5 vital skills. That is literally all it takes to succeed in a white world. And I'm going to tell you exactly what those skills are. But I'm also going to give you the mindset that you are going to need in order to take those skills and apply them effectively in the real world. If you like, you can think about those skills as strategy, right? I'm going to give you this strategy, but strategy on its own is not enough. Strategy, when you go out into the workplace and you are facing a boss who's in a foul mood and who is like, leaning the wrong side of political correctness, or is feeling particularly belligerent today and excludes you. Like strategy won't get you there. What you also need is the mindset to be able to navigate whatever the challenges are that you will encounter in the workplace or in the world. Okay. And most importantly, what I want you to take away is the key thing from today is that you will get started today. Today. I want you already thinking about today like that. Today is the day, the 3rd of April, 2025, where you got started on a new way of working, a new way of thinking about yourself, a new way of living that took you from any number of experiences of life happening to you, your career happening to you, things happening that you weren't expected, things going wrong, things feeling out of your control, to being the person who's bigger than any circumstance, who can create whatever result you want. That's literally what I'm teaching you today. All right, so we're talking about getting started today. We're going to also have time for a Q&A. I want to answer all your questions, so make sure you start lining those up for me. And I am going to talk to you as part of that getting started today about my career progression program, Be the First. A number of you have been asking me when the next enrollment is coming, and the next enrollment starts today. So I'm going to be speaking to that. And what you'll hear as I talk about it are all of the reasons why now is the most critical and important time for you to be doing this work. All right. Hopefully I've sold you on the value of being in this room. All right. So let's talk about what the problem is. Like, why is it that you're experiencing all of those frustrations and dissatisfactions that I talked about? And in a nutshell, what I want to say to you is quite simply, well, it's a white world. I mean, honestly, look around you. Yeah, I don't need to give you data. I don't need to give you statistics. I don't need to, like, this is your experience. If you look around you, you are in the minority, okay? You might even be the only one. And here's how you know, right? The environment, it's not diverse, right? It's just you. You look around and actually the day-to-day activities, the conversations around the coffee machine, the catch-ups after the weekend, the what people do in their holidays, the who's invited to client meetings or who's involved in those critical conversations that happen incidentally, but actually determine like the future of someone's career. All of those things you feel excluded from, or you're often excluded from, not always intentionally, often unintentionally, but the point is because you are in the minority, the normal way of things is all dictated by the white majority. It often feels like there's a threat to your authenticity. And what I mean by that is there'll be comments, you'll get feedback, for example, and what it will feel like is some version of, well, yeah, you need to stop being like you and be more like us. Can you just change this about you and it will all be fine? That can feel very threatening. It can feel like you don't belong. Yeah, so that is what I want to say is a very typical experience if you are someone in a white world, which you work in an environment, the fact that you're on this session tells me you are. And then racism, microaggressions. Let's not sugarcoat this. This is happening all the time. It's happening all around us. And what I don't want to do is sort of make this about all of those challenges. This session isn't about the fact that you may have encountered racism, you may have encountered microaggressions, but what it is about, and this is so important, is that this is the reality of the world in which you are striving to succeed. And the first thing, not the only thing, the first thing we want to do is acknowledge that and recognize that and be like, yeah, it's harder. It's harder for you. So here's what I see you doing in response to it being harder. Here's how I see so many of you responding to it or trying to solve, right, for that problem. You get very distracted in D, E, and I. I'm just going to see if I can play around with my positioning here. It's really starting to bug me that I'm squashed in that bit of the screen. Now that's okay, it's fine. All right, so you get very involved and distracted by D, E, and I. I see this a lot. If this is you, maybe you want to comment on the chat, right? Let me know if this is something you do. You're putting your hand up for also to organize all sorts of DEI events. You're spearheading DEI campaigns, and you are mega visible. The number of people I've spoken to, and certainly clients who have joined Be the First, who come to me and they're like, "But I'm so visible. I led this campaign, and I was front of, I was like." in the spotlight for this that we did and this initiative. And I came up with this great idea. And I'm like, yeah, but are you visible for the reasons you want to be promoted? And this is why it can be a mistake and why it's a distraction, is because we can think that we're doing all of the right things to get promoted, to get recognized. They're leaning into D&I, spearheading those campaigns, when actually over here is where all of the value is, all of the value you're not given, all the things that are valued and the reasons why you are promoted within your firm or organization. You're not known for those at all. The D&I distract you from all the other things that you need to be doing in order to progress. And yes, you need to be being visible, and yes, showing initiative, having great ideas, coordinating, organizing trainings and events, but you need to be doing it in the area and be known for the thing that is most valued. And I'll be honest with you, in most cases, and certainly I would say every scenario that I've ever coached a client in, what is most valued in your business or firm is not DE&I. I'm not saying it's not valued at all, although that may be the experience for some of you, but for sure, it is not the most valued. You all work for a business. A business makes money. Okay. So why there are links back to DE&I and bringing in business and all of that, they are too tenuous. There's some just really urgent, more immediate ways in which your firm or your business values what they value, and they value the bringing in of money. So DE&I is a distraction. I also see you only networking with people like you. Now, look, don't get me wrong. I love the fact that there are so many opportunities to network with people like us. I love it. I never had that at school. I never had that at Cambridge. I mean, the Cambridge Black Alumni Network, how amazing. I would have loved to have had that when I was at Cambridge, right? All the affinity groups, I would have loved to have been part of one of those at A&O or at Cleary. But here's the thing, right? If you're only networking with people who look like you, it means you're not networking with all of the people who you need to support you, the people who make the decisions about promoting you, the people who allocate the best work, invite you to meet clients. Yeah, as long as your work, because typically, right, the people who look like us aren't the majority, right, in your organization. So networking with people who look like you is taking you away from, if you're doing just that, is taking you away from networking with people who you need to build strategic relationships with. And then another way I see you trying to solve the problem of that I've just described, it's a white world, it is harder to progress, is being your authentic self. I'm trying to sneak away from the slides here. Being your authentic self. I hear this a lot, and it's a slightly defensive kind of, well, I'm just going to be myself. I'm going to be true to myself, right? And I hear this in response to, say, feedback that you've received. And what's a challenge with that is you hold on so tightly to what you believe is your authentic self that you don't allow yourself to adapt and you don't grow. Okay. Also, and this is like a conversation I think for another day where I really would love to get into this. It's like, who is your authentic self? If I think about my authentic self, she changes depending on how much sleep I've had, what time of day it is, what day of the week it is, time of the month it is, whatever it might be, right? My authentic self, I'm authentic, like for like all through the day, but the version of me that shows up is very, very different depending on what's going on for me. Yeah. So we can get caught up in a kind of false attachment. That's what I want to call it, to our authentic selves. And as long as we're doing that, we're not seeing the opportunity to grow. We're not allowing ourselves to adapt and to develop. And then the number one mistake, this is the one I want to come to, is I'm just going to stand in front of these slides. So if I'm blocking the view, don't worry, I'm talking you through all of them. The number one mistake, and I'm going to focus on today, is you working twice as hard. And how you know this is you go around saying, well, I need to work twice as hard. Well, I've worked twice as hard as those guys to get here. So already, if that's what you're saying over and over and over again, then I want to alert you to, I want to show you that this is one of the ways, perhaps the number one way in which you are holding yourself back. Because as long as you think I have to work twice as hard, guess what? You are going to work twice as hard. And as long as you believe that that's what's necessary for you to progress, you're going to be spending all of your time doing the hard work, the grind, what were we calling it in Be the First yesterday? We were talking about being the workhorse, being in the weeds, in the thick of it, doing the heavy lifting, right? At the coal face, all of those expressions that we're so familiar with. As long as you have the mindset and the belief you have to work twice as hard, that is exactly what your brain will focus on doing and doing more and more of. And here's why that's a problem. While you're over here with your head down working really, really hard, twice as hard, your white peers who aren't working twice as hard, they're over here, right, being more valuable, adding or showcasing their value, being more visible, building relationships with the decision makers and the work allocators. They're over there doing what is more valued and therefore getting the support, getting the promotion, racing ahead of you, right? So pay very close attention now. Now I've called this out. Pay close attention to that thought. And it's not that that has never been true. If you have the feeling that I've had to work twice as hard to get where I am now, I don't want you to see this as me saying, oh, well, Caroline doesn't believe or she doesn't understand what it took. I promise you, trust me, I understand what it takes to get into high performing environments. I have been through it myself, right? So it's not that I don't understand. What I would like is for that not to be a story that you carry with you for the rest of your life and you keep reinforcing and making it true going forward. Yeah, that's the key. All right. So now let's talk about what we want to be doing instead. I'm going to share with you 5 vital skills. I love emphasizing the 5. There's no forgetting these skills. It's so simple. It's so clear. You can literally write them down on a post-it note right now. I put it on a yellow screen. Write it on a post-it note right now what these 5 skills are. And you can literally every single day when you sit down at your desk, you can look at those 5 skills and say, right, which one of those am I doing today? Yeah. Or which one of those have I not been doing? Have I been completely neglecting? And do I need to start focusing on now? Before I even get into what those skills are, can you see how valuable this is? Just knowing there are 5 things. So simple. 5 things to focus on. Don't worry about anything else. You do not need anything else. This will get you there. All right, so let's talk about what they are. Skill number 1, manage your time. I'll be honest with you, right? In Be the First, this used to be an extra. I used to teach my clients around time management. I could see, that everybody's struggling a little bit with managing their time. But actually, after nearly 3 years of teaching Be the First and coaching people within the program, what I have discovered is how significantly the the combination of being in a high performing environment, there are so many demands on your time, also just life being busy, so there's all of that, and your brain and your thoughts about needing to work twice as hard, what a deadly combination it is. And what that's creating is the burnout, it's creating the overwhelm, it's creating the exhaustion, it's creating the, I know I need to progress and work on my career, but I do not have any idea, how am I supposed to find time to do it? I'm literally holding on at the edge here. So you have to build the skill of managing your time. It is a skill. I invite you to take it seriously. And it has different components. It isn't just about looking at your calendar and working out what you need to do for the day, although that is a very important part of it. It's also about managing your time so that you always take ferociously good care of yourself. I'm talking about this increasingly because I see so few of you doing it. Managing your time means making sure you are looking after yourself, your health, you are taking care of the people who matter to you or your relationships with people who matter to you. And that can only happen when you are managing your time and able to be and being responsible for it. Yeah. So learning this skill is so important. And what you're going to get as you get better and better at this skill is you are going to get further and further away from the risk of burnout. You are going to create more time and energy for yourself. And the way you're going to do that is because you're going to have to start delegating more. A lot of you are shying away from delegating. Again, that's a legacy of thinking you have to work twice as hard. I was coaching in Be the First yesterday lunchtime, and one of my clients it's amazing how many different ways that I need to work twice as hard keep showing up. right? And for her, like we tackle the delegation. She's now delegating brilliantly. She has a whole process for it. Her progress over the last 3 months in delegating, she's actually got people who want to work with her. It's been absolutely brilliant, right? But what the other thing I've noticed is she's absolutely so focused on all the research and the things that she has to know because she's like, no, but I have to work twice as hard at this, but I can't afford to make a mistake unlike everybody else. Again, that's the I have to work twice as hard seeping in. So managing your time is much more than having a calendar that works for you, although that's important. It's also all of it's the decisions you make about how to use your time and what to dedicate it to. That is so important. It will free up time to work on your career as well as to take care of yourself. That is skill number one. And as I'm going through, again, I want to invite you to let me know in the chat. I'm just switching between screens here so I can make sure that I see your comments and can read the chat. I'm just checking in there. But let me know, is this something you struggle with? Is this something oh, okay, look, I don't manage my time at all. This is definitely a skill I need to develop. Make sure you flag it. All right, skill number two, receiving feedback. Receiving feedback. That simple word receiving carries a lot of weight. What it means is being able to hear feedback, evaluate that feedback, extract the gold. I like to talk about mining the gold, right? Extract the gold from that feedback. In other words, take the negative feedback and be intentional about what you will do to change, how you will adapt, how you will implement it, and implement it quickly. All of that within receiving feedback. What I also want to add is part of receiving feedback is being the person who people are willing and want to give feedback to. One of the things I noticed in a client recently was their resistance to feedback and their response to, in their annual reviews and their response to feedback they've been receiving. What it is doing is creating a reluctance on the part of their peers in the case of a 360 review, but on the part of the senior people that they work for, a reluctance to give them any constructive feedback. So part of receiving feedback, this essential second skill, is being the person who is open to feedback, who welcomes feedback. It also, by the way, means being able to receive positive feedback and internalize that and have that be something you give yourself credit for, recognition for. All right. So receiving feedback is skill number two. It's super important. And when you get good at this, what you will find is you will start to attract the support of those people who are more senior to you. Because somebody who the person you work for, there is nothing more positive, more enjoyable than have someone who works for you who is open to learn from you, who is willing to apply what you teach them or what you advise them. What that does is it just creates this feedback loop, right? Of, oh, right, she's ready, she's ripe for learning. I want to nurture her. I'm going to help her some more. So you are going to invite support. You are also going to adapt and grow. Yes, adapt to your environment. Adapt to being in a white world. Some of you will find this very challenging. You will think, well, why should I? And the environment should adapt to me and adapt to everyone. And I absolutely agree that that would be a wonderful place to be and to work. And let's hope we all get there. But what I want to offer is, and what I want to guess is your day-to-day experience is actually not of the world around you adapting to who you are. And I also want to offer, this isn't just about what's pragmatic and practical and what's going to work, although that is important too. It's also recognition as this is what we do as human beings. We adapt to our environment. It is how we survive. It is how we progress. So actually, to adapt and respond in the face of feedback is what we are very good at and what comes very naturally and easily to us. So I'm not actually asking you to do anything that you aren't built and designed to do and have been doing, like I was going to say genetically then, but like as a species, we have been doing for millennia or however long we've been around, which I don't actually know, but it's been ages, right? It comes naturally. It's a natural skill. So let's stop resisting it. Adapting to your environment is a great quality. All right, skill number 3. You have to be building relationships with people who are different to you. This is one of the things I love and I'm so proud of in Be the First. I don't just tell you, yeah, you need to network and build relationships. I'm like, listen, you need to be seeking the people who are different to you. It's so ironic. It's very easy for us to connect with the people who are similar to us or the same as us, right? So the skill you want to build is that of building the relationship where the connection isn't easy or obvious. Going back to what I said before, most likely the decision makers, they're the ones that are most different to you based on their cultural background, their ethnicity, right? And their experiences or their path to get here. This is a skill I implore you to take very seriously as something to work on and to build. And it's something, by the way, for those of you who are thinking, oh, but I'm not good at this, I struggle with connection, I promise you this is something you can learn and you will get very good at. Okay, skill number 4, got to be visible. We have to get our heads up, right? Leave all the hard grind behind the scenes. We've got to leave that approach to success behind now. I think it worked really well when you're a student and it's all about, grinding it out and getting ready for the exams. But we're in a people business now. Like as grown-ups, it doesn't matter how hard we work. What matters is what people perceive, how people perceive us. And it's not even about wanting people to perceive us as working hard, because actually working hard isn't the point. It isn't what's most valuable. I'm going to come to what is in a moment. People need to see you. I was told many years ago that my actual value, wasn't nearly as important as the value other people perceived me to have. What? I was like, you kidding me? My actual value is not nearly as important as other people's perception, how valuable other people perceive me to be. What about that? Is this landing with you? Now, when you think about that colleague who isn't that great at what they do, or they're certainly no better than you, but you're seeing them go further and get more opportunities, now is it starting to make sense? The perception is that they are more valuable than you. And the reason why there is that perception is because they are more visible, right? They are more known. Perhaps they talk about being the subject matter expert a lot. And even if they're not, if they're visible, they're vocal about it, they're showing up and being seen as that. That's the perception that's being created. Now, I'm not suggesting for 1 minute you be visible and pretend to be something you're not. What I'm saying is you are extremely valuable. You have so much to offer. And your job, your skill, then skill number 4 has to be in showing that, being, what's the word? I almost said kind of pushy about that, but I know you won't like that. But literally, there's an element of being in your face about it. Why? Because there's so much noise. There's so much noise. Why would they notice you when there's so much going on? There are so many people. There are so many people who want to be promoted. There's so many people in all of these organizations. There's so much going on. What you want to do is make it easy for people to see you. And one of the best ways you can do that is you take your subject matter, you become the expert, and you show, and we'll come on to number 5 in a minute, you become the expert and you make that as visible as possible. You become known. One of the things you'll notice is that all of these skills are linked, right? So for example, you being in control of your time is really important to give you the time to do all the visibility work, right? Likewise, building relationships with people different to you ties in with being visible. You want as many people, and for those of you who want to be promoted, and that's most of you, or you're battling with that question. It's like, who knows you outside your actual team or your group? So you want to be visible beyond your group, beyond your team, beyond perhaps your office, across the wider business, beyond and out into the industry. You want to be visible. So this is an actual skill to build, which is to, when I think about being visible, because it's something I've worked so hard and I've progressed so much on in the last few years. And if you follow me on social media, you will see me living the truth of this, right? Being front of mind. That's how I want you to think about it. How can I be front of mind all the time? Yeah, I have people coming up to me going, "Oh my God, getting all your emails. Oh, there's so many emails. Every time I open Instagram, you're there. Every time I open TikTok." Not that I'm on TikTok that much, but I will be, right? And I went to a networking event just before Christmas, and there were a couple of people there I knew, but I was standing in a group, and the one of the women there introduced themselves to me, and I said, "Yeah, hi, I'm Caroline Flanagan." And the person who introduced me, they said, "Oh, we've never met." And three people who were also standing there were like, "How do you not know Caroline Flanagan? She is all over LinkedIn, or she is all over Instagram, right?" And the point there is what it requires to be willing to be front of mind, to stay visible. This is the skill. The skill is to overcome the discomfort you might feel and get in the habit of seeing the value of reminding people, I'm here. I'm here. I'm the expert at that. I'm here. This is what I do. I'm really good at it. I can help you. Yeah. Constantly being visible. Okay. Skill number 5, very closely connected to being visible, but showcasing your value. I've been talking a lot about this in my posts and in my reels about how important it is to, I like to think about it as showing people that you can help them. There's a lot of resistance I know you have to, oh, well, talking about yourself, seeming like you're bragging. So the skill here to develop this skill, what is going to be required is for you to overcome that, is for you to overcome the fear of being cocky and arrogant. Let me know, is this something you experience? Like, are you worried about talking about a deal you did that you were really successful at, or a time a client said you were amazing? Like, do you share that? Do you celebrate yourself? Do you publicize your achievements? Do you talk about what you do and how well you do it? This, again, is a skill. It is absolutely required for you to succeed in a white world. Your white peers are doing it. Most of them have no fear of sounding cocky and arrogant. I can't say all of them, but a lot of them, and you will all know and work with people who are like that. And I'm not inviting you to be cocky and arrogant and saying that you have to be that person. What I'm coaching on so much inside Be the First, and actually created such an incredible breakthrough for a very senior Black lawyer I was working with inside the group, was the realization that like all of us have this like cockiness, arrogance ceiling. And what happens is as soon as we start to be visible or showcase our value, we kind of knock up against this ceiling. But what happens actually is that that ceiling is something that was put there by a comment that was made to us when we were a little kid, yeah, or by a belief that a parent planted in our brains that you should never be in the spotlight. You should let everybody speak. You should be deferential if there's someone in the room who's more senior to you. You know, there are some very cultural, like, reasons behind us having low kind of cocky and arrogance kind of tolerance. Yeah. So it makes us think we're being cocky or arrogant long before we actually are. And I think it's fascinating how the only ones who worry about that are the ones who are so you are so far away from ever becoming that. It's so interesting. So showcasing your value, my friend, is so important. That's going to require you knowing what your value is, right? And then being able to talk about it. It's as simple as that. So those are the 5 skills. And why I want to emphasize that why I call them skills is really important. Oh, I'm jumping ahead. It's really important that you see them as skills. Just as when you go to the gym, you decide you want to work out and you're going to start lifting weights, build that skill. You don't go straight to expecting yourself to bench press 50 kilos, okay? You start with the small weights, but every weight you lift is makes you stronger. So you start with these 5 skills. Every time you work on these skills, every time you do something to advance your skill level, you get the benefit of it. You don't have to be an ace at being visible and confident at being visible and in the spotlight for you to become more successful in your role, more successful in a white world. You don't have to have nailed time management for you to become very efficient and good at managing your time and taking care of yourself at the same time while also producing at the level at which is required to you. So don't use these 5 skills against yourself as being overwhelming. I'm so far away from that. I'll never be able to do that. I find that really hard. I'm an introvert, so I don't really like networking. I find it hard to connect. Or I have a fear of being exposed, so I don't want to be visible. What if I'm found out? Don't let that be a reason you go, oh, well, I can't do any of this. Or there's at least 2 of these skills I can't do. Just get started. Every day you start and take one step forward, you are that closer to being more successful, to achieving the goal you want to achieve. All right? So those are the 5 skills. Okay, so what's going to happen? What's going to happen next? You're going to take those 5 skills, and I hope you've written them on your post-it and you've got them, and you know this is all I need to do, and I know exactly why I need to do them, and I know exactly what Caroline meant when she spoke about all those 5 skills. That's why I've talked you through them. So you can go out into the workplace and start practicing developing that skill set. But let's talk about like the real world and what is likely to happen. You're going to have that experience of everybody being over there talking and you like not being included. You're going to have the experience of being mistaken for, I don't know, the waiter, right, in a meeting, or being mistaken for the trainee when you're actually a senior associate. You're going to have the experience of a highly inappropriate comment made by a senior client. Yeah, you're going to experience being the only one. That's how I describe it. Being in a white world, all those different ways it appears. You're going to get some feedback that's going to make it feel like, okay, you can't be yourself if you want to progress here. So your brain is going to want to stop with the 5 skills. It's going to want to, but like this lady with her arms crossed, be like, well, like, what's the point? If I do all of this, it doesn't work. I'm the only one. Look at how they treat me. And your brain is going to want to go back to all of the things that you're used to doing, you've been practicing as a way of dealing with solving the challenge of trying to succeed in a white world. So you're going to want to go back to working twice as hard. You're going to want to go back to, well, I'm just going to be my authentic self. And if they don't like it, it's tough. You're going to go back to, and actually I didn't mention this as a mistake, but this is a key one, thinking, oh, well, this isn't the place for me. I need to go elsewhere. I'll find somewhere else where it is diverse, where it is inclusive, where I can be myself, and where they recognize DE&I. And what I want to offer you is that every time you run away from what I want to offer you is the opportunity to build these skills, to succeed in a white world. Every time you run away from that, 2 things happen. One, the experience I've had from so many of you who reach out to me is you find exactly the same problem in the next place. Different shape, different people, same problem. Right? So you try to run away from it, but actually you find it everywhere you go. And often it's our relationship with those circumstances that are the real cause that I have to work twice as hard. You're going to take that with you wherever you go and encounter the same challenges and not be recognized for how hard you work, because guess what? That's not what they value. Okay? So be careful of the temptation to oh, I'll just go somewhere else. And the other thing I want to offer you as a more positive incentive to keep going with this work, even when something happens that makes you feel like the only one, is think about who you will be when you have developed these skills and you are the person who can work in any environment. You can thrive in any group. You can connect with anyone, walk into any room, speak in any meeting. Like the skill set you are going to build here will set you up for your whole career. You will be able to change industries if you want to and take that skill set with you. That's how powerful this work is. That's how important the skills are and how great is the opportunity you have right now to start developing them. So here's what I want to offer you do instead of reverting back to those old habits. I want you to change your mindset. So I want you to get from or change from I'm the only one, that whole mindset that the circumstances outside of you are bigger than you. What can you do? And I want you to be the first. That literally means having the mindset, having the self-concept that you are the first. This is how I think about myself. I am not the only one. I'm the first. I have that thought ingrained. I practice it every day. And 100 different variations of that thought, like places like this, need people like me. There's a whole thought, a bank of thoughts, I call them, right? There's a whole, well, it's the mindset, right? Set of thoughts that you can choose to think, because guess what? We can choose our thoughts. We don't just have to believe everything our brain offers us. We actually get to choose our thoughts, and we can choose thoughts that empower us, that make us proud, that make us bold, that give us courage, that make us determined. When I think I'm not the only one, I'm the first, I feel all of those emotions. I'm bigger, I'm stronger, I'm braver, I take up more space. I'm also less expectant. I am not surprised when somebody says something inappropriate. I'm not saying I tolerate it, but it doesn't become this shock horror. Well, that means I can't succeed. What it means is I then respond to that rather than reacting to it. So the secret sauce, what is absolutely required and will make you unstoppable in your industry, is having a mindset of I'm the first. And just to be clear, it doesn't mean you have to be the first past the post. I don't want you taking this to mean that, oh, somebody else is the first Black partner in my firm, so it's not going to be me. No, being the first isn't about being first past the post. I also want to add, it's not about pressure. It's not about being superhuman. I've had some feedback from someone recently within the program, and they're like, yeah, but I'm scared to be the first. It feels frightening. So if you're feeling that too, then here's what I want you to know. When you're the first, there is no expectation that you do anything. In fact, being the first isn't about doing at all. It's just who you are. It's how you think about yourself, how much you support yourself, champion yourself, believe in yourself, have your own back. Yeah, that's what being the first is, no matter what. So it's about being and the way you think about yourself. Inside Be the First, we call it your self-concept, the way you think about yourself. It is so powerful. This work, the mindset piece, changed my life. It will change yours as well. So that's the secret sauce. That's the unstoppable mindset. So with the 5 vital skills, you have everything you need, everything you need. I don't care where you are, what environment you are in, what industry, what level. This is everything you need to succeed in a white world. All right, so now that concludes. Oh, actually, before I get to the next bit, this was a really useful. I actually added this to the slides this morning because I thought it would be really useful for you to imagine what's waiting for you on the other side of building those 5 skills and adopting that mindset. So right now, how they see you is hardworking, a safe pair of hands, a workhorse, ever been called that? Reliable, which is all great. Like, I'm not undermining the value of that. Please don't misunderstand me. But when we're talking about progression, we're talking about success, we're talking about who gets reward, who's being rewarded, Who's being recognized? Who's being supported, right? The hardworking, safe pair of hands, workhorse, reliable, you get seen as that and nothing changes. That keeps you where you are. Versus the version of you who is built or is building these skills, how they see you when you manage your time, when you're receiving feedback, when you're building relationships with people different to you, when you're being visible, when you're showcasing your value, how they see you is efficient, capable, adaptable, connected, supported, trusted, known, and valuable. Who do you think they're going to promote? Which version of you is going to attract the opportunities and get the recognition they deserve? And what about how you will feel? You will go from feeling exhausted, working twice as hard as hard, frustrated, resentful, undervalued, versus the you that feels when you've got these skills and you're using them, applying them, and you've got that mindset, valued, feeling recognized, feeling fulfilled because of that match between the work you're putting in, the recognition you're getting out, the challenge that you're then rising to as you progress. So fulfilling. That unfulfilled potential that you feel now gets to feel better on the other side of this work. And equal. This, for me, is actually what has driven me all along, and it may be what's behind your drive too, your desire for success. From an early age, I wanted to be valued and recognized and fulfilled, and I definitely wanted to be equal. It's always been a value that's driven the values that have driven me. Yeah. This is what's available to you. I want you to imagine this for yourself. And it's all waiting for you. Just the 5 skills. Don't be tempted to go away and think there must be more. There's enough work, trust me, in those 5 skills for you to be building and making significant changes very quickly. All right, so I've sold you on the 5 skills. 5 skills, 1 mindset. This is how you succeed in a white world. So that concludes let's call it the training part of this session, where I've told you exactly what it is that you need to do to focus on, the mindset to adopt, and you can stop worrying about everything else, okay? And certainly want you to stop working twice as hard. Strategy, mindset, they will get you there. Here is the final barrier to your success. You're going to take what I've taught you today and you're going to be like, yeah, it makes sense. This is great. I'm going to go and do that. And then you're going to go to your desk and you're going to open your inbox and the world will come flooding back in and we won't be in this webinar anymore and you will forget. Or you'll say, yeah, I'm going to do that. And you'll have your post-it note, maybe if you wrote those 5 things in the mindset on your note and you'll see it and you'll be like, yeah, I'm going to do something about that. Yeah, I'm going to start networking with people who are different to me. And then a week will go by and a month will go by and you'll stop seeing the yellow sticky note on your screen because, well, you're just used to seeing it, right? So your brain just stops registering it. And then it will be 6 months. And then it will be a year. And you will still be dancing on the edge of burnout, telling yourself you need to work twice as hard, not being as visible as you need to be, still thinking, I don't want to sound cocky. So I'm just going to keep my head down, not going to showcase my value. My most important message to you today is that you are in this webinar. You joined it for a reason. There is a need, a desire in you to progress for more, right? To achieve your goal. I invite you to make the decision to do that, to start work on that today, right now. Because every day you delay this work, first of all, it becomes harder to get started. I have clients who joined Be the First recently who are like, I spoke to you, went to your webinar a year ago, and I was going to do it, and I can't believe it's taken me so long. And they say to me, I wish I had started earlier. I'm actually going to start counting the number of clients who say to me, if only I'd known this before. One of my clients was going for partnership. We had a session yesterday. It was unbelievable. And she kept saying, yeah, but what about the 10 years her billables are down, right? And she's got a review coming up, which is the review about her partnership, her bid for partnership, right? And her business case. And her billables have been down. She's like they've been asking me about my billables. I've been billing, exceeding my billable targets for 10 years. Why don't they count that? Can't they see I know how to bill? Why are they considering this really important? I know how to bring in clients. I'm like, listen, it's not about what you did for 10 years. It's about what you're doing now. It's a business. What they value is you bringing in business, but bringing in money. So it's just an example of like that. I'm really helping to remind you, for example, what is valued is not the same thing as what you think makes you valuable. But those are the kind of things you don't see from the inside when you're busy doing the work. Those are the kind of things that being in this webinar helps you to see. Working with me helps you to see. Being in a program like Be the First helps you to see. And that's what I'm going to talk to you about next. I want you to think about, before I move on, where we are now in this world, what is happening around us. I want you to think about how shocking it has been over the last few weeks, months, to see how quickly things can change, how easily things can become or be undone, and what that means for those of you who have been taking comfort from being in the expectation of the world becoming a better and more diverse and more tolerant and more equal place, and that being the natural trajectory of our lives and our work. And that's where we're going, and that's the way things will always be. How quickly things change. There has never been a more important moment for you to take ownership of your career, of your work, of what you want your life and your career to look like. There has never been a more important moment to learn the skills of being bigger than your circumstances. This is what I learned from the age of 5, those skills I built then. It's been my superpower. Being able to, and I used to have this song I played over and over and over again when I was like, we were being evicted at home. And then I was doing my A levels, trying to get my grades to get into Cambridge. And it was all just really hard. And it felt like every day there was something new that was trying to say, what are you doing? You stay here. You don't deserve this. Who do you think you are? You'll never make it. As if there were some evil universe telling me how dare I try to aspire to be anything other than from a very, very poor family, dysfunctional family in a terrible part of Birmingham. Like, how dare I not be a 15-year-old with 3 children living on welfare, right? Dealing with all of that, and what I was able to do every time something new came, tap into this song, which really reminded me, it was literally the higher you build your barrier, the taller I become. The higher you get, the taller I become. I think there was, what is it? I don't know, one of the Obama quotes, when they go low, we go high. Whatever version of that works for you. But the point is, you can be bigger. You are bigger than all of it. There is no circumstance that you can present to me right now that you don't have the power mentally and emotionally to be bigger than. And that's what this work is about. Yes, it is the 5 skills and it is that one mindset, but collectively together, you working on those now, developing those, getting stronger in those skill sets, ingraining that incredibly powerful, unstoppable mindset. That is how you get to be ready for whatever the world offers us tomorrow, next week. So let's talk about you getting started. Checking in on my time here. Okay. Be the First Progression for Black Lawyers. This is my signature career progression program. It's 6 months of coaching. We meet every single week on Tuesdays at 2 p.m. That is the allotted time. So I want to offer and suggest that you put that in your calendar right now. We start in May, so the first Tuesday in May, which is the 6th, I believe, at 2 p.m. And we coach every single week for an hour thereafter. You can put it in your calendar right now. The investment is £3,600. I use the word investment, not lightly. Recall the beginning of this session where I talked about the investment of your time. Think of what you have got from just an hour of your time so far today. The clarity you have, the understanding you now have. The next level of your investment is your commitment right here, right now, to starting this work today. Because every day that goes by, I'm starting to get very strident in my communication of how urgent it is that you start building the skills today. When you need them, I don't want to say it's too late to build them, but the sooner you can build them, the stronger that skill set will be when you need it. That's what I want you to take away. We don't want to wait till you are flailing around and struggling and things have gone wrong and you're suddenly like, right, how do I, worst case scenario, right? I have people reaching out to me a lot saying, well, I've just left my job. It was terrible. This happened. I didn't know what to do. I was undervalued. I was overlooked. They treated me this way. Now I've got to find another job. And can you teach me the skills, Caroline? I'm like, what? You're going to be looking for another job, you're worrying about paying your bills, and you want to be learning the skills, and you're not even in a role where you can be developing those skills. Like, don't let that be you. Don't leave it to that point. Develop them now. If you're feeling secure as anything where you are, it doesn't matter. The world is changing. The world is unpredictable. Your skill set belongs to you. No one can take it away from you. No one can change it. This is the work we do in Be There First, and I'm inviting you to start doing it and committing to it today. I'm opening enrollment for, 6 days, from today to next Wednesday. I used to have this open all the time. I'm not doing that anymore. It's an open enrollment period. I want you to treat that as a call to action to just decide. I actually think I do you a disservice to say, yeah, join whenever you want. It's fine, I'll be here. I mean, I am here. I'm coaching away, like coaching my face off every single week, right, inside this program. Seems like generosity to say whenever you're ready. It's a disservice because it gives the impression to you that work isn't urgent. It gives the impression that this work is a nice to have, that managing your time so you avoid burnout, so that you're more efficient, so people see you as more valuable, is a nice to have. These aren't nice to haves. I want to say that they are essentials. If you are aspiring to anything other than being a victim of circumstances in your career, or if you're aspiring to anything other than just settling for what you've got, these are essential, they are important, they are urgent, and I'm excited to be the one who has created a container where you can just plug in and start building them right away. So let's talk about that container and what you get. You get a set of tools that I've created to make all of those skills really easy and doable, right? So I've created these concepts, time control, right, that help you manage your time. And what that includes, amongst other things, is a self-care protocol that I create with you. We co-create. That means you have a minimum standard of self-care below which you will never go. Never put yourself in danger of burnout. I think I'm thinking so much to that because it came up a lot recently in one of the coaching sessions. So time control. I give you the feedback formula, which is literally this formula that you can use when you get feedback. You can use the formula to evaluate what's been fed back, evaluate what you agree with, what you disagree with, what you are choosing to implement, and how to implement it quickly. Yeah. I give you Relate Agility, perhaps my favorite tool that I've ever created. It really is literally the art of being able to connect and build relationships with anyone. This is something I've been able to do in my sleep for years. And what I've done is I've taken what I do and what has worked for me year after year after year with all sorts of people. And I've distilled it down into a process I can teach you so you can have that skill too. So you can be relationship agile. High visibility. You've seen me on social media. You see how visible I am, how much I show up. And that's just in one way. I stand on massive stages. I deliver presentations that are live streamed across 20 countries. Yeah. The visibility. So I teach that. And in particular, I teach what it requires of you to be visible. I'm introverted, believe it or not. I also have a fear of exposure. Imposter syndrome is something that I experienced my whole life. I've learned to be visible, even with that, and I can teach you that too. And then the value equation and value bank. These are the tools I've created to help you showcase your value, make that really easy. It's you literally plug in the details into this equation. It will tell you what your value is in the context of what is valued by your firm or business. That's really important. I'm not telling you whether you're valuable or not. You are, of course, inherently valuable, deeply, uniquely valuable. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about what is valued and your perceived value. So I've got the tools that make that really simple. All of this, make those 5 skills really simple. And I walk you through all of them. You don't have to figure out how to do it on your own or try it and it not work and feel like, oh, how do I do this? This is a skill I'm never going to develop. And all of this, I want you to consider the be the first self concept wraps around it. So we work very intentionally on your thoughts about yourself and elevating those to the level of the person you have the capability of becoming, the person you are, that you want to be, the goal you want to achieve. We develop that be the first self-concept until it becomes just who you are. Yeah. So that's what you get. Who it's for? I said, it's my signature program for Black lawyers. To apply for this program, you have to be mid to senior level, right? I let you decide what that is, but to help you understand, what I would offer is you are starting to think about, well, do I want to be partner? Or you want to be partner. You might even be on the partnership track. Yeah. So that you're looking to go into senior leadership. If you're working in-house, then you are either head of legal or going into being head of legal. It's very different in-house, like from business to business, the titles. So I'm not strict about those. But like if you're a GC, figuring out like your role in the business, those relationships, the value you add, being visible so that you're treated equally, right? That's how you know, like those are the questions or the challenges you're experiencing. That's how you know you are the right level for this group. You must be currently in a legal role. That's why I was saying it's so frustrating for me when people come to work with me they have after they've had some issues or had a problem and they've left their old role and they've left it under a blaze of whatever the opposite of glory is, right? Because this work needs to be done while you're in the role so we can apply. I'm all about the implementation. You going out, doing the work, coming back, and we look at how it went. We look at what you can do differently. We look at what you need to do, what worked and what you want to do more of. It literally is the difference between theory and practice and getting the results. And as I said, you can be in-house or in private practice. Okay, here's how to apply. How are we doing for time? Very quickly, because I do want to get to your questions. And while I'm there, actually, let me just make sure I can see the chat. Amazing, amazing, amazing. Okay, right. Just catching up with the chat. It was in a different place. Right. Something about missing the 5 skills. Okay, no problem. So I went through that. You mentioned that at 2:30, so it's fine. I've just been through the 5 tools that you get inside Be the First that teach you the skills of managing your time, receiving feedback, building relationships with people who are different to you, being more visible and showcasing your value. That's helpful for everybody just to be reminded of what those 5 skills are. And what I did was walk you through the tools that I've created that make it very easy for you to build those skills. Okay. All right. So how to apply? Well, you can click the link in the chat, which I haven't added yet, but I will do. It's also on this screen. All right. And what that will do is it will take you through to an application form. All right. You put in your name, your details, your where you work, level of seniority, and that's it. And then you wait for an invitation from me to join. I do select people for this group because I put together the best fit of people. And that has nothing to do with how good you are at your job. It has nothing to do with where you work, if you meet those initial criteria. It's actually much more to do with your desire to do this work and your desire for an actual goal and your buy-in and your readiness to do it now. So don't, if you're unsure about whether to apply, apply anyway. I'm always going to reach out to you and pick up the phone and have a chat with you about what I think about your application and whether you're ready or not. All right. So that's the application form. I am going to very quickly get the link to that and put it in the chat so that you have it. I don't want you to have to go fishing around for it. There we go. See if I was able to do that. Yes, I was able to do that quite quickly. Amazing. All right. So before we get to questions then, I wanted to, how are we doing for time? I've got a couple of minutes before we go to questions. I wanted to highlight a couple of features that I've added in the last 6 months to a year, 6 to 9 months, which have just been incredible. So this is a group coaching program. I used to coach one-on-one. I did it for years. And here's what I noticed. I noticed how lonely this journey can be for you on your own, even with my support, my smiley face, seeing me every week, championing you. I also noticed how in all of these individual one-on-one coaching sessions, I was coaching on the same thing. There were just 100 different versions of exactly the same problem. And I realized how, what a missed opportunity it was, especially for those of you who are literally the only one in your organization or in your group. What a missed opportunity it was not bringing you together. So that's why I then decided and made a commitment to go to group. I call it group exponential because when I really I really challenged myself to think like, how is this valuable for my clients? Putting them all together in a group. And this is what came out. And this is what I've seen the evidence of over the last 9 months. It's been 9 months, actually longer. It's been almost a year now. You're not alone. Faster learning. So if I'm teaching you to be visible, you are experiencing a challenge in one particular area, but then you hear me coach someone else who's struggling with like being on social media. And then like you hear someone else who's struggling with speaking up in meetings, but you're good at speaking up in meetings. And like to have that, you all in one room. I talk lower down about collective intelligence, right? The collective intelligence of everyone going on this journey, learning the same skills and having so many different scenarios in which those skills are being tested and played out. It's so good. And what I've seen as well is how my groups, like people are sharing resources for things that they found useful. Somebody shared something yesterday about, oh, I use this for time recording. I was struggling with it for years, and now I found this. It's really brilliant. I recommend it. That's just so good. Of course, a bigger network. And then there's something about the vulnerability that comes with being in a group and being coached. I know some of you will be nervous about that. And if this is something with you, like let's jump on a call. I'd be happy to speak to you about that because one of the most consistently surprising things that people say about the group is how much they realize that being vulnerable was something they needed, they wanted, they valued, and they found so useful and empowering. Yeah. So Group Exponential was a really it's an add-on or a shift in how I deliver this program that I'm so proud of. And I am so convinced it's better for you than one-on-one that I don't do one-to-ones anymore. So 5 vital skills would be the first mindset. We coach for 6 months, 1 hour every week, and you get Group Exponential. I'm also going to tell you about consolidation months. There's a bonus month. So when you start in May, what we do is we take a break in August. So I created this break month, December, August, and April. And I created that because, yes, it's the time when you're most busy, but actually, you progress really quickly in this group. You progress so quickly, you learn so much that actually there are times when, and because we're going into consolidation month now, right? It's April for my existing group. And it's like, everybody's like, I want to work on this and I want to go into that. And then this session that we had where I had this light bulb moment and I've started doing that and this relationship and I'm making progress, but I want to focus on that. So what it is it's like this pause In the live coaching, I'm still here in the background and we communicate via Slack, so I haven't gone away, but you get to implement, you get to consolidate your progress, and you get to practice so much of the self-coaching, which is part of the skill set that you learn. Just by being coached by me, you start to think like a coach through your experience of being coached by me. And that happens. The number of clients who come back after consolidation month and they are thinking one in particular, and she's like, yep, well, I was thinking this and I was going to do that, but then, oh, your voice, there you were. And I'm like, what would Caroline do? What would Caroline say? It's become this standing joke, like, what would Caroline say? So like, it's like I'm in your head, even during consolidation months, but you have some breathing space. That's been really powerful. My clients have loved that. Another feature I wanted to tell you about was like the inevitable worry you might have about not being able to make every single session, right? We coach every single week for an hour. First of all, put that time in your calendar right now, Tuesdays at 2 p.m. from the 6th of May. Already having that in the calendar, you will be amazed at how much more control you have over your calendar than you think, right? And remember, the first thing we do is time control, all right? So that's something to do right now to help. But also there are times I have a client who's a litigator, right? And there are some days where she have court days. Here's what's fantastic about that. We record the sessions. So these are available to you. They're passworded. And what it means, and this was the brilliant thing about it, was not only can you watch back the coaching replay whenever you want on your commute into work, so good. You can watch back something that you missed. But you know what's fascinating? How many clients want to go back and watch a past session where they had a transformation and they're like, oh my gosh, I want to go back to that session where you told me that and it was just like, that changed everything. So having it as a resource, like a library of your coaching library, where you can go back and find coaching and they're all labeled. I labeled the sessions based on what we've covered, the coachings I've given you. So you can go and find whatever you want. Just pull it off the shelf and rewatch it. And sometimes I might even set you a piece of homework. I don't do that very often, but sometimes to go and rewatch a session where I asked you a question and you lit up the screen. We coach by Zoom, by the way. I think I didn't mention that, but you lit up the screen with your answer and I saw you in your highest like level of belief and confidence. I'm like, go back and watch yourself. Hear how you were talking. And it's such an incredible confidence boost. It's a great resource. So that's also something that I now include in Be the First. So the 5 skills, the mindset, the 6 months coaching, every hour for a week, group exponential to support you, consolidation months, coaching replays. You can hear I spend a lot of time and energy thinking about how can I help my clients get like better results? How can I help them learn these skills better? What am I seeing clients struggle with? What tool can I create to make this easier? That's how those tools have been created. They have evolved through me seeing the areas in which you're getting stuck. So I create a tool to help you. I'm literally doing that week to week. Okay, there's a small little cheeky bonus I want to tell you about. I wanted to do something special on this session just because I can and because I'm all about the value and because I'm all about getting you results. And I am most definitely all about compelling you to take action now and seeing the urgency and importance of you making a commitment today. So I'm adding a cheeky bonus. As I said, I don't do one-on-one coaching anymore. But what I knew you would find a compelling and exciting, an enticing offer would be the opportunity to have a one-on-one session with me at any time during the 6 months that we work together. This is the first time I've ever offered it. I don't know if I'll offer it again. I'm just saying, right? You have to make the application today. So I'm not making it part of this enrollment. So if it's not today, then no one else will know about this offer. So only you who are on this call, right? So if you join today and you make that commitment, you have understood, or rather felt the urgency and importance, then you can join today and get this one-to-one session with me for free as an add-on to your program. I thought that was just a really fun extra bit of bonus value to give you and to really compel you to lean into this work because of how important it is. Okay. Let's see if you have any questions. I didn't see a whole load of questions piling up. So, oh yes, there was a question about how much it costs. £3,600. I should have put that also on this final slide. That's the investment. Now, you have the option, the choice. I'm trying to think if it's on the form or not. You have the choice, it may not be on the initial form because we then sort out those details later, but you can pay it all in one go. Some of my clients just want it paid and then forgotten about, or they've been saving for it and they just pay it all at once. Or you can actually pay it monthly. So you can do £600 a month for 6 months. And that's you just set that up as a direct debit. It's super easy to do, or with a credit card. Yeah. So hopefully that answers your question on how much does it cost. Other questions. Actually, there's a couple of questions that were also sent in. So I'm going to look at those and answer those for you. I do love that with the questions. There's so many people asking the same questions. Right. So, oh, I'm not in control of my time. I think I've addressed that. Like, so I can't, the question was around, well, how I can't guarantee that I'll always be able to show up at the right time. Remember, we meet Tuesdays at 2 p.m. starting the 6th of May. That is already, what is that? 3-4 weeks advance notice of an appointment. You put that on repeat in your calendar. Do you know what I want to say? These coaching sessions, they become they're bigger than, I was going to say bigger than me. That sounds ridiculous. What I mean is they become a thing in their own right. I have had my clients, when they go on holiday, they join the coaching sessions. They do not want to miss a coaching session. And the reason why I'm telling you that is because these sessions are so valuable and so enjoyable, getting together, having like being coached, but also with your peers, seeing the familiar faces, all being on this journey. It's really good. It is uplifting. It is empowering. It is a wonderful break in your day where you get to breathe, refocus, recalibrate, and you come out at that session always feeling more in control, always feeling like you have more ownership, always knowing exactly what you need to do next, and almost always having the solution to the problem, whatever was on your mind before you came in. Yeah. So I want to just offer to those of you who are worried about whether you'll be able to commit, I want you to see it as it will become one of those appointments that you will do almost anything not to miss. And it's amazing how actually more flexible people are around you when something's already in your calendar. I think you will definitely find that. That's what my clients find. Other questions. Let me just check the Q&A as well, because sometimes people put questions on the Q&A and also on the chat. So I want to make sure I can see them all. There's so many functions and features with Zoom these days. It's easy to miss. Okay. Oh, this is interesting. Yeah. Is this practical? Is this practical? So this is practical work. And what I bring you back to is the fact that it's a skill set. Think of it like when you go to the gym and you need to work out, right? You are doing the practical work of making your muscles stronger. We're just talking about the muscle of managing your time, the muscle of receiving feedback, knowing exactly what feedback you can safely ignore and what feedback to implement. Knowing what feedback like you need to internalize that's going to boost your confidence. It's a muscle that you build. Same with building relationships, same with being visible, same with showcasing your value. They are all muscles. The secret sauce, the be the first mindset, that's not practical. That is mindset. That's mental. That is thought work. But even that, I give you very specific practical work to do to develop your mindset, thoughts to think and practice. And by the way, I don't put thoughts into your brain. I help you find thoughts that are already in your brain, which support this higher, more empowered, more powerful version of you. Like I see it as that version is already in you. Okay. What I do in this program does is it helps you to see that version of you, and it helps you we remove all of the distraction, all of the confusion, all of the thoughts that don't serve you, and we reveal the real you. I don't know if I'm explaining that well. I have this concept called Michelangelism, which I created when I was reading about Michelangelo and how when he created the sculpture of David, the way he talks about it is he said he had a block of marble And how he created David was he just took away everything that wasn't necessary and useful and beautiful and like that's kind of what I do as your coach. Like it's almost like you're the sort of raw material and I don't need to add anything. I just help to take away, strip away all of the stuff that's built up, the negative messaging you might have had, the fears that have grown, the circumstances, the experiences you've had that have like made you doubt yourself or had you focusing on the wrong thing. So I just help to take away all of that stuff that's not serving you so that what is left is the highest, best version of you. And I didn't say perfect version of you. I said the best version of you. And the best version of you has all like makes mistakes and has faults and gets things wrong and is but actually like learns from those, picks himself up from that, and every time comes back bigger and better and stronger. So I'm not talking about perfection here. I'm talking about you, who you are at your core and everything you have to give and all of your untapped potential because of all of the stuff, right, that happens around us that makes us forget. It's my job to help you remember. It's my job to show you. And I do that very practically. I created those tools to do that for you. Okay, I'm conscious of time. We are at 3 o'clock. I could talk for another hour and a half about this work because of how important, how urgent, how necessary it is, and how incredibly both passionate but also committed I am to not so much committed to you doing the work as I am to you having the result of doing this work. I want that for you. You have the link. You know how much it costs. It's £3,600, right? This is an investment, but hopefully everything you have heard today has showed you like the return, the exponential return you will get having these skills anyway, in any circumstances, but especially now, especially in this moment, with everything that's changing, with everything that is uncertain, every day that goes by, like, is another day where if you're not doing this work, we are vulnerable to what's happening around us. But this way, we get to stay in our power and we get to connect with it every single week and create changes in your career, in your life, every single week over 6 months. All right. If you have any questions I haven't answered, please DM me on any of the socials or email me directly. I will be looking out for your applications. I'll be looking out for them today. Remember that one-on-one session that's up for grabs only today. Enrollment opens today. I haven't opened it up to anybody else yet, but I will be doing that later on today, sending an email to my list, my email list, and all out on social media. So you will see that too. Thank you so much for your time. It's an honor. It's a pleasure to serve you. And I look forward to seeing you inside Be the First. I'll see you in May. All right. Bye for now.